Hello explorers and welcome to another video. Today we're gonna continue learning about Linux. Let's go on. More packages. Next up is inet utils. It's a basic networking libraries or utilities. It should be configured with a lot of parameters. So what do we have here? We have the prefix. We have a local state dir, which is called to /var. We will disable logger, so that prevents the inet utils from installing the logger program, because we wanted to use the system logger in order to send its log messages right over there. And we will disable whois, and this is a program that is already in the system. Okay, so this disables the building of whois client, which is out of date, so it's an old version that is in this package. There is a better one in the next book in this series, the BLFS. So we can install that package when we come to that. Then we will disable RCP, RX, RLogin and RSH. So if we take up this command here, we see that we disable a lot of things. So all these that start with R will disable building of obsolete programs that should not be used in a due to security issues. So this is, yeah, I've seen this before. I've not run any of these commands. There are newer versions of them. So I guess that this inet package just have a lot of old dependencies. So yeah, there is better solutions out there. So they don't really need to bundle that in anymore. As you see here, that actually comes with an Ftp server, an inetd server. So a lot of different servers, and all of them have been disabled. It actually has a telnet as well. That's not a safe one. So what did we get here? We got an DNS domain name, so we can say what the name is. We will get the standard FTP program, and that's very useful to have. We can set the host name. We will get the if config, so that's checking which interfaces, network interfaces that are available. We will get both of the ping commands, both for IPv6 and IPv4. Talk I've never used. We will get the Telnet Client. I don't see any reason to use that anymore. That's an old version of SSH, which is a shell command, so you can secure shell, so you can get into another system and run commands. Telnet was an unsecure shell that were used before. And then you have TFTP and traceroute. And traceroute is good to say if I'm wanting to get to google.com, for instance, what steps will be taken in the network traffic to get over there. So that's a very useful debugging tool. So, and the last command there was a disable servers, so we don't install any of these old servers here. syslogd is one that could be used for logging, but we disabled that one. There is other logging frameworks, and having a dedicated logging framework is really good. So now that we have configured this, let's make it. And when it's made, it should not take that long time. We need to check that all the libraries are built correctly. So let's do a make check of this one. Should also go fast. Ooh, we actually got a failure. So note, one test lib lssh may fail in the initial C root environment, but will pass if the tests is rerun after the LFS system is complete. Well, doesn't really matter. Everything else worked, so let's install it. So we have all those tools, and then we need to move some commands from the USR to the bin directory. So we'll move hostname ping, ping6, and traceroute to bin. And we want to run the move the command ifconfig to sbin, for that is only useful for the super user, or should only be run from the super user. So DNS domain name, it will show the system's DNA name, as we said before. Host names will set or report the host name, actually. I have talked about the only one that I didn't mention was the talk. It's used to chat with another user. Never used the talked command. Have you ever used the talked command? Leave a comment down in the comment section down below. And I'm really curious to know how it works. I guess that in an older system, if you were logging into a friend's computer, you could sit down there and talk with them, have a little chat on their system, but I've never used it. So Perl, it's a programming language. I actually didn't know what the abbreviation stood for. It's actually Practical Extraction and Report Language. Interesting. Perl for me is a language that is really good if you want to do text manipulation. You can use it as on a web server for scripting things and creating web pages and so on. You can use it for a lot of things, but in my mind is very good to take one input text and creating something else. So yeah, some people really like Perl, and it's very much used in Linux environments for building different things. So first off, we need to do a little bit of a setup here. This package requires that we have a local host, so it actually will use some network traffic against the local host. So we need to create a host file where we put in localhost to 127.0.0.1. You might have seen that before. In a network, you have the 127, which is a local network. 0.0.1, this is the first computer in the local network, and that means this computer. So it's very commonly used as my computer, and if you ping localhost, you will ping yourself. And ping is a way of sending a package out and getting a response back in order to see that the network connection is working. And let's see here, the Perl now builds the compress raw, setlib, and compress raw bzip2 modules by default. Perl will use the internal copy of the sources for the build, issue the following command so that Perl will use the libraries installed on the system. Okay, so we need to export some things here. So the setlib to false, so it will not build that, and bzip2 to 0, so it will not build that one as well. Then we will run this configure script here, and as it's a Perl script, we will run a shell script, not a configure script, so it looks a little bit different. It's strange that Perl uses a different syntax for their configuration, but you pretty much set the prefix as we usually do. We set a vendor prefix to USR. This ensures that Perl knows how to tell packages where they should install their Perl modules. So Perl should install into USR, and vendors should also install into USR. Then we will set a pager to less. It's ensured that we will use less instead of more as a pager. I guess that they are meaning pager as in when you are looking at a log, if you use the more command on a log, you will see one page and then the next page. Less is a little bit of a funny jab at more. It actually has a search command in it, and you can go back and forth when you are using it. But more, you only will see one page, press enter, and then see more. So it's a really nice program to use instead of more. And then you will set the man 1 dir and the man 3 dir, and this is where to add the man pages for this installation. So let's see here. So we have talked about this, we have talked about this, and the man pages and the pager. And the last one, the two last one here is use shrp lib, and this is that it should build the shared lib Perl needed by some other Perl modules. So build that and install that. And we should use threads, so we will add thread support to the Perl language. So let's run and make the Perl language, and this will take a little bit of a longer time as well, so I'll get back to you when it's done. And we are back, and we need to run test as it tells us. We will run test with the K command, so it will not stop there. This will also take some time to run through, but it's good to actually know that our compilers or our programming languages works as intended. I'll get back to you when this check is run. And I'm back, and the note here says that one of the tests failed due to, well, we're using a recent version of GDBM. This should be this one, but then we have this time local that is also failure. I believe that a time test, well, that is something that could be finicky. So I guess that this is a good installation, so I will actually just do an install. It wasn't a total failure, and it was mostly correct, and I feel safe to continue. So let's install this one, and after we've installed it, if you remember, we put some specific build variables in our environment in order to say that we wanted to use the system zlib and the system bzip, and we need to unset those for the rest of the build here. In this package we will get core lists. It's a command line tool for core list in Python. We will get cpan, and this is the archive network with all the extra packages for the Perl language. We will get, yeah, there is a lot of different Perl tool here, but the main thing is that we have the Perl language. So let's unset those, build here. There is not any of the other commands that I usually use, so I will not talk extensively about those. Let's go for the next one. This is the XML Parser library for Perl. And so let's install that. And in this case, we need to use the Perl language to run the make file. And this will create a make file for us. We can run make. This will build the XML parser. So it's a interface to James Clark's XML parser expat. And let's run some tests on that. They should just go through, all tests successful, make install. So now we can use the expat library in Perl as well. Next, we need to add some internalisation. So let's install the Untitled tool. Untitled tool, and this is for internationalization tool used for extracting translatable strings from source files. Okay, so it's used to change language and so on for different tools, I guess. So Perl actually creates an error here, or we get a warning. So we will need to run this command in order to, guess we need to comment out a bracket, it seems. So that's what we're doing, because we have this input and it seems that we have that output, so we have this extra comment. And in this case we see that we changed the slash that we usually use to this notation, because we are using slash in the rest of the command. So sed will change those up, and then we do a configure with the prefix of USR. We will make this, it's a very small tool, make install, also fast, and we'll install some documentation. So we will get Intel toolize, and this prepares language to use the Intel tool. We will have Intel tool extract, and that will generate header files that can be read by gettext. And gettext is a tool that will help you to create pod, and pod is LPO files, which is some kind of compressed language files for your tools or for your different programs. Intel merge, yeah, so we can merge things, prepare and update translations. So it's tooling for translations. I think we have done a lot here, and this video will be broken into smaller parts, and I hope that you found this interesting. I hope that you learned a little bit more about Linux and different components of Linux. And if you have any questions or suggestions, leave them down in the comment section down below. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. And I really hope to see you in the next video.